Hello, my name is Julie Di Fiore, and I will be discussing lessons learned from pulse oximetry. The purpose of today's discussion is to identify the available features of pulse oximetry monitoring, to discuss the limitations of current pulse oximeters, and to describe how to maximize monitoring strategies in the NICU. Pulse oximetry is calibrated against known oxygen saturation values that are required in human adults. This creates a limitation in that we're only able to quantify oxygen saturation values in the range from 75 to 100%. So any calibrations are extrapolated for values below 75%. How does this affect the accuracy of pulse oximetry? Well, this study done in lambs showed that the pulse oximetry compared to arterial values created a mean difference of about 3% over 70% saturation. However, below 70%, the mean difference increased to 13 to 17% depending on the manufacturer. This tells us in the NICU setting that during desaturation events, more likely than not, we are overestimating what the oxygen saturation value is at that point in time. Pulse oximetry is known for its high incidence of nuisance alarms. The good news is that we have tools at our disposal that help us to reduce these alarms. These tools include motion artifact filters, alarm thresholds, averaging times, and alarm delays. This slide shows the effect of increasing averaging time on the number of desaturation alarms. In the top tracing, we see an oxygen saturation tracing from a preterm infant during periods of periodic breathing where the infant was exhibiting a high number of short self-resolving desaturation events. If we set the alarm threshold at 80%, we can see that with a short averaging time of 2 seconds, the infant exhibited 26 alarms. If we now increase the averaging time during this same period, we can see that a longer averaging time can decrease the number of alarms all the way down to 6 with this averaging time of 16 seconds. So why are we not always using a longer averaging time? Well, a long averaging time can result in unanticipated consequences. For example, in the red box, the oxygen saturation signal is being smoothed in an upward manner above the desaturation threshold. In contrast, in the gray box, the oxygen saturation signal is being smoothed in a downward manner below the desaturation threshold. So a longer averaging time can create false long desaturation events. And this can be problematic as these are the events that were most likely to intervene with supplemental oxygen. The monitor alarm delay is an additional tool we can use to decrease the number of nuisance alarms. It can be used separately or in combination with the averaging time to decrease the number of alarms. The number of alarms only tells us how many events the child is having in a particular day. However, it doesn't give us any information on the time spent in any given oxygen saturation range. The histogram tool can give us this information. For example, this is an oxygen saturation tracing during a 24-hour period of time. The histogram tool takes all these points in time and it bins them into given oxygen saturation ranges as shown in the histogram on the bottom figure. For example, this infant spent about 1% of his time less than 80 and over 50% of his time in the range from 95 to 100%. So this is a good tool to provide feedback to your nursing staff on how well they are keeping the child in any given oxygen saturation target. In summary, a long averaging time can reduce motion artifact and false alarms. However, it distorts the true oxygen saturation waveform. It falsely increases long desaturation events. It understates event severity. And it delays the response time. A short averaging time can increase response time and provide more accurate detection of short events and event severity. However, it can dramatically increase nuisance alarms. The alarm delay can eliminate alarms due to short desaturation events, and it has the advantage of it does not alter the true oxygen saturation waveform. And lastly, the histogram can provide overall time and target to provide feedback to the nursing staff. Thank you for your time.